Blockmates Orange is sponsored by Core Network, the ultimate Bitcoin-powered EVM-compatible blockchain. Learn more about Core at blockmates.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Blockmates Orange. We have Russ from COREx, one of the main dexes, if not the main dex, on the CoreDAO ecosystem. User experience, simplicity, a whole lot of TVL, and just basically taking the whole Bitcoin DeFi space by storm. Obviously well established. Russ, welcome. It's good to have you. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're busy, and I know it's early on your side of the world, so I really appreciate you taking the time on.
Great to be on the show. Great to be invited. Looking forward to all the discussions we can go through today. I think COREx is a pretty exciting product. There has been a tremendous interest, even as we see in the market, with the capital rotation into Bitcoin. I think BTC-Fi is still at its early stage, but has already shown a lot of advantage in terms of product, in terms of technology, and a lot of interest coming from both traditional and Web3 institutionals. I think we have a lot to discuss. Very excited to go through all the questions.
Great, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to discuss. But before we get into the broad strokes of Bitcoin DeFi and what you guys are doing, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, obviously at COREx, and what brought you to this very moment. How did it all begin for you in crypto?
Sure, love it. My name is Russ. I am the founder and CEO for COREx. And funny thing is, I actually personally never really had a technical background. I have always been kind of on the operational side, business operational side. I actually came from a TradFi background, and that really is demonstrated by the center thesis of our COREx products. So I worked in State Street for some time, and I actually acted as a desk trader. Following that, I started with a few other friends, started a fund that invested in different vehicles from commercial real estate, such as hotels, office spaces, to equities, to crypto projects. That's how I got in the industry initially. Initially, I was an investor, a trader, and I came into the web.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Glyph. Glyph is a non-custodial decentralized exchange operating on the Core network. As you know, we've spent a lot of time focusing on Bitcoin DeFi on this podcast, and essentially what Glyph is doing is replicating what Uniswap has done on Ethereum. So they are obviously dedicated in developing a sustainable and innovative DEX on top of Bitcoin, much like Uniswap, and just taking this whole Bitcoin narrative to the next level. So they've got a unique non-custodial approach which allows users to retain ownership of their Bitcoin while enjoying the benefits of a decentralized exchange experience. Their website is glyph.exchange, and you can go and trade a variety of assets there like BTC, USDT, USDC, and a lot more. Go check them out.
Space, I saw a lot of potential with DeFi, got me super interested, wanted to build some projects in the beginning. That was back in 2018, 19. But I quickly realized my lack of full understanding of the technology itself, which hindered my ability to successfully launch anything. And also at the time, I was less connected to a lot of leaders in the industry. That prompted me into working with a couple of centralized exchanges. So I went into HTX first and started as a BD. Just a small BD, worked there for almost 3 years, which was I guess, kind of a long time considering exchanges that does have a very high turnover. Stayed there. Eventually, I was part of the team that's responsible for the strategic partnerships for the exchange in the US and European region. After I left HTX, I did join another centralized exchange. First acted as their kind of go-to-market, chief go-to-market. Then I acted as their CEO for some time. But through this, through those experiences, I think number one, my background as a trader allows me to kind of understand what traders need. How can they make better and more educated trading decisions, have better returns? That's something that I have not yet seen in the market, and that's what CoreX is trying to fulfill. We're trying to be extremely intuitive, easy to trade with a lot of comprehensive amount of information kind of condensed into one platform, easy to navigate. At the same time, I think, being in centralized exchange, it also demonstrates that, okay, so people do want to use a more user-friendly interface. They do want to see more tools and how can that all come together to aid traders and help them make more money. So ultimately, I'm trying to bring that centralized exchange trading experience to a decentralized platform that's somewhat similar to a TradFi trading experience. I think ultimately that's going to be the key to achieve mass adoption for exchanges in the Web3 space. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, not only a brief introduction about myself, but also the product itself, right?
Yeah, I think it's really good to see that the space has obviously evolved from the basics of what we expect from a DEX. Like way back in the day, you could hardly read the text, but now it's become the business is more about the user experience as opposed to the DEX itself, and it's great to hear that you guys have taken that to heart and, more importantly, delivered on that. So I wanted to kind of ask you a general question to kick things off, on this whole idea of Bitcoin DeFi. And for many years we kind of like saw Bitcoin essentially as store of value. It started out as a payment, or a peer-to-peer payment network, and it kind of evolved in terms of the way that we I think prescribed value to Bitcoin, but then it didn't really do anything beyond the fact that it was almost in many ways like, I think one-dimensional is the wrong word or the wrong thing to call it, because I think there's a lot of complexity in Bitcoin, just in its purest form. But then all of a sudden, I think in the last 12 to 18 months, we've seen this surge of interest around Bitcoin, obviously around an ETF, but more importantly, this whole idea of Bitcoin DeFi. And the question for you is like, why has Bitcoin DeFi only now taken this amount of time to kind of like get momentum, and we're now identifying it as Bitcoin DeFi? Why didn't it happen in 2019 or 2018 or even in 2020? What do you think has changed around Bitcoin?
I think really from a few different angles. Like you said, Bitcoin was originally just a product to reserve value, right? Much like gold. In fact, people called it digital gold. Even Warren Buffett talked about Bitcoin as, a kind of a reserve for value, but it does not generate any additional value. And in fact, that's why he himself never became an investor in Bitcoin. Traditionally, all the protocols, especially DeFi, they're built on Ethereum, right? I think when Bitcoin came out, people were investing in it. It was part of obviously the number one asset in the blockchain space. But Bitcoin was, it had its limitations in terms of functionality. The block generates basically 10 minutes, one block every 10 minutes. That's way too slow for it to be really functional. Uh, Not to mention that, Bitcoin itself, like Elon Musk said too, it's hard to be a transactional tool, even though that in the original white paper, it does describe to be a transactional tool, but it is, volatile to start. Secondly, the transaction process and kind of expense are a little bit too high to be used as a normal currency. So then I think while a lot of L2 rollups came out on top of Bitcoin, it opened up the door for really functionality and what's possible to be built on top of Bitcoin. And among all of them, I think Core is definitely a leader in the sense that while other L2s or sidechains are still being kind of at a vision stage where they have a grand vision, they want to build something out there, talking about this, talking about that. But when you look back, Core is the only one that actually has been on mainnet, has pushed out a product, and has been operating for some time. A lot of things that people are talking about, such as Bitcoin staking, has been happening with Core. In fact, Core chain itself has the most Bitcoin staked at this moment, and leading by quite a bit. I think Bitcoin does have a lot of potential in the sense that, there are ETFs for Bitcoin, right? People are coming in because they believe there is price appreciation potential in here. And try to find money they want to obviously, gain from that. There, when we look at different asset classes, right, we are potentially cutting rates and new bonds are going to be less attractive. Equities have been growing for such a long time. Everything valuation wise has been kind of crazy, especially anything tech related, anything AI related that has, kind of expectation. They have been growing at like terrifying PE ratio. Now that when you look at crypto industry, no doubt crypto industry is also, valued relatively high, but it is still overall a small industry with a lot of growing potentials, right? And one other angle I want to remind is the regulatory clarity. I think one reason that crypto industry has remained to be relatively small compared to equities or fixed income is because ultimately the mass adoption of crypto has not yet happened, right? We in the industry think, oh, everyone is familiar with it. There are many conferences that DevCon is happening right now, right? A lot of conferences, a lot of things going on in the industry. We think it's grand, but in fact, when we compare the entire industry, it's smaller than a lot of firms out there, like Microsoft, like Nvidia, right? Compared to those firms, the entire industry is smaller. Yeah, I think, we need the massive adoption to happen, and regulatory clarity across the world in different countries, even in the US, there has been a lot of progress. And that, that shows, you're seeing traditional money coming in. You're seeing that there's more and more ads being displayed, being allowed. Eventually, I do believe that the decentralized landscape of blockchain can offer a lot of value to people by allowing them owning their own asset on chain, and that's a very attractive value proposition. Once they do be aborted to this industry, I think this industry at least has at least I don't want to give financial advice, but I think right now it's definitely too small. I think we should be at least a 1/3 or maybe half of what equity market offers, right?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So, do you think that From this point onwards, we have kind of like an acceleration, or do you think we still have, particularly with Bitcoin DeFi, that is, do you think there's still a whole lot of learning that needs to happen where it is kind of like one step forward, two steps back? Or do you think we figured things out to the extent that, we can actually approach the big institutions like the BlackRocks and the rest of it to actually come and play in the Bitcoin DeFi space?
Yeah, I think first of all, the adoption will always be a little bit difficult, right? Unless the policy maker changes their changes their objective and perspective quite drastically, which is possible, right? In the US, we're having the election today, which is really a big milestone. Because if the US become more crypto friendly, it will lead the world, right? Everyone will become more crypto friendly, and that could really speed up the process and the speed of adoption, right? I think for Bitcoin environments, no doubt there's gonna be a lot of growth, and that's why we're here as well. When you look at Ethereum, I think Ethereum really this might be kind of a bold statement, and I'm not talking about now either. But personally, I think Ethereum is slowly dying. There has been less and less people building on Ethereum. No doubt it is still the most widely accepted and built on chain, but the speed of it, the acceptance of it is just slowing down because there's too many different choices. You can build on Solana, you can build on Move language ecosystem, you can build on BTC ecosystems, right? I think Ethereum is slowly dying, but at the same time, Bitcoin is kind of on a rise. Bitcoin has always been the most well-known asset in the crypto space. It has the strongest consensus. People know it worth good amount of money. I doubt that ever Bitcoin will go to will lose that consensus and go down in price. And one key reason that I think we are seeing a lot of price turbulence is because there are a lot of bigger investors, especially TradFi investors, are trying to come in and getting this asset before the drastic policy change, before anyone else start rushing in, and that's what happened with equity before as well. You're seeing family office starting first because they have more for risk tolerance, then followed by money capitals, money funds, hedge funds, eventually to pensions. But I think yesterday I already saw news like one of the UK pension has started accumulating Bitcoins and doing a new fund. I mean, those are signals, right? That there has been more and more acceptance among TradFi institutionals for Bitcoin. And in the past couple of days, literally, if you look at the market, all the money accumulating into Bitcoin. I think it is definitely a sign. Whether it's going to accelerate, I think it will highly depend on the policymakers, not just in the US, but across the world. But I just kind of want to remind that this is an inevitable future, that Bitcoin will come back as the mainstream asset, as the one not only people are holding, but people are building on top of. And obviously, like I said, I think ultimately there are different hypes about different Bitcoin chains, different L2s, different side chains. But so far, the only chain that has dApps built on top of and has real TVL, has been operating, has been doing a lot of staking is Core, right? So we ultimately are confident. I cannot predict the future, I would say. I think if the election result come out to be bullish, it might accelerate. I cannot guarantee, but I do believe that we are best positioned with Core.
Yeah, I think Core's definitely been very much at the forefront of its great community. And as we know, crypto is all about community. It's all about, a buy-in from a group of people that believe in something that is bigger than themselves. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but that's just the way that it is, and especially in terms of where we are in this evolution. Not only crypto, but I think in general, you need that community, and obviously Core's managed to do that. And like you said, it's an ecosystem that has, the TVL from a locked Bitcoin perspective. Obviously, they have the novel idea, or not idea, but the technology that allows you to still retain custody and lock their Bitcoin as a commitment to the network. I think the most important question at this point is to, just kind of like get a perspective. We've had an eagle's eye view now of what's happening in the market, what Core's been doing, and then obviously more importantly, like where you guys sit in this whole thing. Just give us kind of like a broad perspective in terms of how, you see, CoreX participating in, the CoreDAO ecosystem. Obviously from the most obvious, besides being a DEX, to the not so obvious. Share your thoughts around that. Love to hear, what your perspective is on CoreX's role.
Yeah, of course. So for CoreX, what we really wanted to do from the very beginning is to bring the trading experience um, to allow our DEX trading experience to be similar to what a Web2 or TradFi professional trading experience on equity will be, right? I mean, like when you trade a stock, right? Here in the US, maybe you'll use Thinkorswim, right? Maybe you use IBKR. Those are pretty massively utilized platforms. And when you check out their platform or their trading station, trading interface, the UI, right? Um, it really is different. It really is different than Web3. I mean, I get that Web3, where younger crowds, people are more edgy, I guess, edgy, and maybe cyberpunk, whatever uh, will be a good
Yeah.
word to describe. But
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of interface that are minimalistic, or they're more of a cool variable, right? It looks cool, visually appealing, but it doesn't actually offer the functionality for anyone trying to trade professionally, trying to trade smart and educated. I mean, I think part of the reason for that is crypto market is driven by a lot of FOMO, right? And those are like kind of the words that crypto industry uses: FOMO, degen, right? Yes, that is true. In the early stage of the market, I think the kind of the psychology of it, um, or kind of the vibe of it, right? It's important. You want to use a platform that feels cool. But at the end of the day, why are we in anything, right? Why are we in this industry? It's because this industry is full of potentials for us to grow and for us to make money, right? Ultimately, that is the goal. We're all here working because we want to be successful. We want to be able to achieve personal goals. And I think CoreX really wanted to deliver that. And we are in the process of delivering it. We offered a lot of different tools for traders to make better decisions. Started by visualization, we offer real-time charts, technical indicators. You're able to kind of plot your own trend line and all that. We also allowed social channels where you can share your thoughts with verified token holders of token that you're interested in, and kind of, share your maybe technical drawings, maybe just your thought leaderships on different tokens. So that's something we also offered. We're looking to add some AI advisory, which we believe will help traders identify different new opportunities they might overlook. Right now, it's still under development. The product itself actually is complete. It's just we haven't seen enough asset within the BTC environment to fully utilize this tool. So it's not on yet. But that's kind of, where we're coming from, right? and where we think we'll be going, we will never rule out the possibility of being omni-chain. I think the ultimate goal for us is to be the go-to DEX for all BTC environments. I mean, when you look at DEX in BTC landscape, BTC-Fi landscape, right now we have about 25 million plus in TVL, and we're going to, we actually had more than 50 million just a month ago. One of our partner Sol Protocol, they are rebalancing their contribution. So that is going to come back. But when you add that back, I would say that we're the most TVL hosting or deep DEX that's available in BTC environments. That's in terms of obviously liquidity. In terms of user, we're currently responsible for about 85 to 90% of all trading volume happening on core. And when you look at other chains, they're barely getting started. We believe we can deliver a similar thing for other ecosystems. I think the main reason we're able to capture that much TVL as well as trading volume is because we really do provide a lot of useful tools within our platform, and people are kind of used to using us. And ultimately, I think that goes that the same perks, the same advantage goes for any other Bitcoin driven ecosystem. So I wouldn't rule out to be omni-chain. But for now, we want to serve core and serve core well. We believe core is the best position BTC chain out there. And it is truly a leader. To be honest, I have learned tremendously amount of knowledge and build more than ever connections through core. And I think, obviously we want to be able to stay with the leaders, continue to fulfill our product. When the time is right, obviously we will be looking to further expand our reach and potentially, gather more interest and have more TVLs to be brought onto core as well.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, you've obviously spoken about a lot of stuff there, but the thing that gets me thinking now is, this whole idea obviously around, AI and the role that AI has to play. And I don't necessarily want to get into kind of the AI aspect and the role that it can play, but more importantly, the role that it can play in the context of trading and the DEX. And you did mention earlier on that there was this idea of getting AI to obviously advise users in the context of trading. Am I understanding you correctly? Is that what it is that you guys are currently building over and above your DEX at the moment?
Yeah, I think AI is a very interesting topic. Me myself is very pro AI. Obviously a lot of people are a little bit scared of the progress that we're making a little bit too fast. Yeah, but me personally, I think AI ultimately is a great tool to analyze data in such a quick, right? Such a quick pace. They're able to give unbiased most of the AI models, not all, right? Most of the AI models able to give unbiased, statistic-driven answers or results or suggestions that a lot of times humans, when we read different articles, we have our own perspective, right? The stats are there. How we interpret it, it may shift a little bit. So I think AI is tremendously helpful. And I see AI helping traders. Essentially, we're a DEX platform. We serve traders, right? We see how it serves trader in a few different ways. Number one, obviously, we want to have our traders succeed in making trades, in making money. That comes to two, right? They need to first identify the proper opportunities. Then they have to be able to kind of capture it and make right decisions. So first of all, we have kind of opportunity seeker. That's what we call it. This function has been in development. We would like to see more tokens listed with CoreX before we deploy it so that it is useful and it's more accurate. Essentially, what it does is it looks at individual users' trading habits. I'm talking about which sector you're trading most frequently. May that be SocialFi, GameFi, or infrastructure, or DeFi protocols. And what kind of market cap do you trading? Is it a small cap, something under 20 million, something 20 to 50, something above 100 million, or even more, right? And what kind of technical level do you trade based on what level you use? May that be RSI, may that be EMA. Then we give recommendations to traders when they trade. For example, today I'm sitting here trading, let's say, I'm trading Dodge, right? Obviously, I've been trading a lot of meme tokens, let's say. Uh, there's a new meme token called Mooden that came out. I didn't see it, but it is also, say, let's say it's not, but let's say it's also listed with COREx, right? Mooden came out. I did not know it did. This is also a main project. It trades at a lower valuation currently that I normally trading. And based on the technical level, this is pretty much where I would potentially be buying. I didn't see it, but the AI will seek it out and actually deliver it to me. It will not tell me to trade it. It will tell me, okay, there's another meme token, what time it was created, and what price, market cap, token price, and technical level it's at. Ask me if I will be interested. I probably will do a little bit more research, and then I'll be trading it. I'm not saying that it's a one-stop shop, but it does bring the opportunity in front of me in case I have missed it personally, and allow me to make a good trade. Otherwise, I will miss, right? And of course, we also have partnered with some industry winners, leaders, to provide better trade guidance. I'm mainly talking about the sentiment scores. Right now, when you look at the crypto industry, I think if you're investing based on value, which is great, the way that you would invest in equities, it's great. It's great. Don't lose it. But it is hard to make money in crypto right now. A lot of things don't really trade based on their potential value or their product. Really, still, most of the time, cryptocurrencies, they're trading based on hype, right? That's why, once again, the FOMO concept comes in. It's based on hype. It's still early stage. But what is hype? Hype ultimately is a sentiment, and it is an emotion. FOMO is an emotion. And every project is on different social media platforms. For us to read their social and not just look into their social, but look into every little detail post, every little comment, right? Whether those comments are positive or negative, be on top of their Telegram group and read every message and seeing how people are reacting. That's gonna be tough, right? You might be able to track one project, but not all. It's gonna be tough to track where the sentiment is, how people are feeling about it. You literally have to stay up day and night because crypto runs across the world and it runs 24 hours a day. What we do ultimately is working with some partners, and they have developed a program for the past 5 years. They actually won the Bitcoin Magazine trading competition last year, first place, $1 million in reward. Very successful team. What they do is they collect all the data from all the social media platform about the token, and they analyze it through a large language model, and they assign it with a score from 0 to 100, where 50 is kind of like neutral, more towards 100, the more positive it is, and more towards the 0, the more negative the sentiment is, right? And in a way, I think nobody has done is we can actually somewhat predict the token price moving forward, kind of a price target, right? When you trade stocks, everyone's giving out, okay, price target for this quarter, for this stock. That does not happen for crypto because no one is able to truly predict And we're not going to predict the price for the quarter or for the year because that's arbitrary and that's not real. That's not going to be helpful for our traders. But we can tell them what the sentiment score right now is and what we are seeing for the next 24 hours. That's something we can actively monitor and, assist our traders with such information to help them make better trades. And lastly, I think AI helps with kind of accessibility, right? One thing that people struggle with, some of them may struggle with a VPN issue because they're in the region that, that cannot use certain apps. Some of them might have internet issues. Some of them might just not be super familiar or in tune with, different DeFi products. And it might be hard for them to go through everything. So we're working with another team to develop an AI bot. Essentially, the AI bot is trained with a small language model that is closed in the crypto industry. It does not give you random answers. It does not tell you, okay, what the weather is going to be tomorrow. It does not tell you that. What it does is it specializes in learning about the crypto industry, about trading. It will be able to execute trades for you, and in a very smart way. It will ask you which network you would like to utilize, which kind of gas fee or speed you would like to pick, and all that, right? Tell you about slippage, potential slippage, and all that. It will give you information about different tokens when you ask. But essentially, it makes trading more accessible, right? If today you're busy, you cannot hop on the platform and make a trade, connect your wallet on your phone. You think it's risky, but you don't have access to a computer. You want to make a trade. You just want to talk to a chatbot. You can do that too, right? You just type in. You can literally just record yourself, speak to the AI, tell it to trade for you in any way you would like, and it will do the job, right? It's about convenience as well. So those are kind of the directions that we are tackling, ultimately helping users make it easier for them to trade and help them make more money in each trade. Those are directions we're going after.
Awesome. I mean, I find it really interesting that you guys have taken this idea, especially in the context of a DEX. I don't think that I've seen anything like this. I don't know if anyone is working on something like this, but I haven't heard about it. So it's great to obviously get almost like a first take on this idea. What do you think the challenges are around kind of like this model, this example that you guys have been building? Have you found challenges at the moment? Can you share kind of like the trials and tribulations that you guys have had to go through up until this point?
Yeah, of course. So there has been challenges almost every other day. I think it's same for everyone out there, right?
Yeah.
What we're building on an infrastructure level, it's not too different than other decks, right? And my excuse for that is because we want to make sure we're delivering something that's secure and safe when users are putting their asset on our platform, right? We want to use something that's already proven. And of course, we have audits from Certic and fully KYC as well. But yeah, the infrastructure itself is safe, but we're doing a lot of development on the user friendliness side, right? On making things better, the trading experience better for users. And when you try to innovate, obviously there are times that things don't go the way that you think will go. There are times where certain features that we had unexpected, brought unexpected obstacles. For example, one thing I guess I talked about is that chat channel which allow users to talk to each other. We verify whether you are a token holder of the token you would like to talk about. We will also display how many tokens you're holding, and it will allow you to share technical indicators and all that, and thoughts, all that. But one thing we notice is that there are spamming issues. People spam messages, and there are also phishing messages, right? even when you're a token holder, you could be sending things that are not really beneficial to other traders, but rather harmful. So that's why we temporarily suspended the chat channels. Um, Things like that, right? Things like that. I think ultimately we are not going to mess around with users' capital, with users' asset. That's why the infrastructure itself is very solid, it's proven, it's audited and everything. But we intend to keep on building on additional features that are performance enhancing, I guess. And those are, like you said, not really existing in the landscape yet. We're kind of an innovator in that way. And when you innovate, obviously there's gonna be drawbacks. Sometimes things don't work as you expect. Sometimes the product is not fully built out as you want it to be. We have been on mainnet since May. So, we could potentially add those features to testnet and have people try out. If everything goes well, then we bring to mainnet. But then we realized, right? We realized that not many people are still trying on testnet anymore. To really get a realistic kind of a view on how each product is functioning, we have to bring it on. So I guess that's kind of the obstacle we face sometimes. And we really appreciate all the patience our users are showing, all the support they're showing, and we'll continue to build that way, right? We'll continue to build that way. We'll never mess with your asset safety, but there might be some user experience hiccups once in a while as we're trying to roll out new features. But overall, I would say that the building experience, it will, of course, it's not easy. I think if you're trying to create anything legit, unless you're just forking something and trying to slap a label on it, that's something that people used to make money in. That's much easier. But I don't think it works in this cycle anymore. But when you're trying to build something new, obviously there's always going to be difficulties. But I think overall experience we have received is tremendously great, positive. We have gotten a lot of support from core, the ecosystem, a lot of support from our partners, from our investors, and yeah, we're just waiting for the right time to kind of move on to the next stage, right? So yeah, I think so far so good.
So what is the next thing for you guys? What's on the roadmap?
Couple of things, right? From product perspective, we would like to bring the chat channels back online with modifications to protect our traders, right? And we would like to bring the AI functions online. I think the AI functions have to wait till we have more asset listed with our exchange. We are seeing more and more projects surfacing with a token. So I wouldn't say that it's going to be a long wait. Maybe sometime towards end of the year or maybe in Q1. We should be seeing them. It also obviously is driven by the market, the overall market sentiment, which we're seeing more positive notes in recent days. I think after election, it will be more clear on the direction. Sorry, just smoking a cigarette. But on the operational level, one thing that users and followers and everyone really are kind of asking is when the TGE is going to happen. We obviously will benefit the most when TGE does happen as well, because we actually are building this without a salary, just so it is clear. We are building this with essentially no salary, and all we are doing is kind of using the building incentive to fuel our further development, our marketing strategy, and all that. And for all the teammates that is in COREx, we are all aiming for eventually a gain through our token allocation, which does not unlock until a year and a half post TGE, right? So that's a bit of a wait time. And we obviously wanted to push TGE as well, like any other project founders and funding teams. Same as our community members, right? They have been allocated airdrops points. They would like to exchange that to a token. Maybe they want to realize that as well. But we do want to go on TGE at a good moment. I feel like it's hard to time the market. It truly is difficult. But at the same time, I want to have at least an overall positive market to go into. And that's kind of the feedback that we got from our investors as well. All of our investors, including different rounds, um, as long as they're a venture capitalists, they have been suggesting for us to wait, right? To wait until after the election result come out, after we know how the market react, which is happening right now. So, I wouldn't expect too long of a wait going forward, but we intend to see how Colan, which is the leading lending protocol on CoreChain, performs with their TGE, which I think will be happening in about 2 weeks. Once we see their performance, we will adjust our strategy in terms of market makers, in terms of which centralized exchange we'll be listing on. So far, we have gotten approval from several top tier exchanges. We want to keep in mind of the listing expenses and save enough money for market making to ensure our token does perform well once it gets listed. And if we're seeing positive notes from Colan and the market, we will proceed to a TGE with an adjusted strategy that ensures that all our investors and token holders will benefit from the action. We're not going to TGE just for the sake of TGE, but we're going to TGE when we're certain that we can bring value to our community, right?
So how do you, when you say provide value for your community, what does that actually mean? What is the advantage of holding your token going into the TGE and beyond?
Yeah, so when a token goes for TGE or goes for listing, ultimately what any project, why they're going for listing, right? Listing is expensive, very expensive. When you're talking to centralized exchanges, any good ones, the price will range from 100,000 all the way up to 600,000, maybe $1 million, right? When you're listing with, say, like Binance or Bybit or whatever, right? It's quite expensive. If we're spending, say, $500,000 on listing, why not just give that money to our community, right? Or investors? The reason for us to really go list is that we expect price appreciation and good liquidity, right? That's why anyone will list. It's for the valuation and it's for the liquidity. So very straightforward, right? I think token utility is clear. Our token has a full-on utility. There's things like staking program that we're providing. That's a VE33. Social staking that we kind of developed ourselves. There are other use such as trading fee discount and feature subscription in the future, especially with the AI features we're pushing out. There's a lot of utility with the token itself, but I think ultimately people wants to buy our tokens and people wants to sell our tokens, right? People who are interested in our product and they did not get enough airdrop points to dim our tokens. They want to get more tokens. Currently, they're unable to do so until we're listed. And of course, there are people who are here supporting us for some time. They got points. They're able to exchange for some airdrops. And maybe they would like to kind of, diversify their risk portfolio and, potentially liquidate some tokens. We want to provide that venue for them as well. I think it's only healthy that we bring in big buyers who are long-term buyers, or like they're positive, they're confident with our product, they like what we do. We want to allow them to get their hands on our tokens for price appreciation. And obviously for people who are more in tune with the short-term goals, we want to make sure that they are able to kind of liquidate on their position as well. Just whatever our community needs, right?
correct. It's a good attitude to have, and you are correct. I think people aren't honest enough around kind of like token liquidity around the token, and more importantly, caring about, the price and also the value that the token holds beyond just the price as well, which clearly you guys are considering. I think from my side of things, or from my perspective, I've always been an advocate for rather wait to launch a token, find your product market fit, create value around your protocol without the token. And if you are able to provide value within the token that transcends, your product into the token, then by all means do it. And I think protocols that wait and that find that product market fit land up doing well in the long term, or better in the long term, than protocols that just launch a token for the sake of launching a token. And I think we need more of product market fit and then token, as opposed to token and then hope and pray that they find a product market fit. I think it's an ongoing problem, and people don't recognize it, and maybe they're just too fixated on the money, or I don't know what it is. But I think, if you want longevity in this space, you need to think beyond just a token, and you need to think about your community and the value that you are creating for them. And clearly that's something that you guys are doing. And if you do it properly, you won't just be in business for the next year, you'll be in business for the next 10, 20 years. And I think that's important. And especially if you're playing in the Bitcoin space, and, Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's going to be around for a very long time. So anyways, Russ, we're pretty much at the top of the hour. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your insights. It's been really interesting to chat to you guys, because I think, we chat a lot about DEXs, and, but not many DEXs actually look beyond just, kind of like swaps and liquidity provision and the rest of it. Like, you guys are looking at it from a trading experience, obviously discounting, trading fees through the token, all that kind of stuff, I think is really important in terms of growing the space, but more importantly, being in the Bitcoin DeFi space. I mean, essentially you guys are pioneers, right? You're pioneering, the ability to bridge that divide between, Bitcoin and EVM. So well done on that. And it's been great to chat to you. Appreciate your time, and we look forward to, catching up with you at a later stage. I'm sure we will, and obviously closer maybe to a TGE, whether it's next year or whatever time frame that is. It's been great to meet you, and also just catch up with what you guys are doing.
Thank you for inviting me to the show. I agree with everything you said. I think ultimately people need to understand that we're not here to make a quick gain. I think a lot of projects come out with a quick product, they push for TGE, and they ultimately just liquidate their position as a team and gain from that. That's not what we're doing. We're building for the long term. We believe there's tremendous opportunity within BTC environment. We are best positioned right now, and we want to kind of maintain that leadership, maintain that advantage, and continue to have a solid platform that's operating for years to come. So yeah, we obviously are taking serious measures and be very cautious with our strategy and how we enact them. Appreciate the exposure, appreciate the help, support. I'd love to come back in the future.
It's a pleasure, and we definitely will invite you. And once again, all the best, and just go out there and make it happen, sir. We wish you all the best. Take it easy.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks everyone for joining us on another episode of A Blockmates Orange. Please like and subscribe. Obviously, it's appreciated. So just hit those buttons, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Quick one, nothing here is financial advice. It's for entertainment and educational purposes only. Always do your own research or speak to a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Like and subscribe.